My name is Hannah, and this is my beauty budget. Hello everyone, it's time for another Empties video. And I just sat down and started saying my name is Hannah and this is my beauty budget, and I feel like a weird snogginess. I'm not a person who really gets allergies, but it feels like that's what it is. Like it feels like some sort of sneeze caused by dust or something. So if I happen to be, God forbid, getting sick and I just didn't realize it until this moment, I hope it doesn't affect my voice too much in this video. I'm just gonna charge through. I have very, very few empties this month. I've been doing some thinking about empties and why they are considered to be, I guess, virtuous in a way in the beauty community, and what can cause someone to have a lot of empties and what can cause someone to not have a lot of empties. As many of you know, if you have been following me from the beginning, or if you went back and watched my old videos or my old empties videos, I started out my no buy year with massive empties videos, mountains of empties. And the reason that that was happening was that I had a bunch of extra product in every category. So I had like 5 or 6 half-finished or almost finished second cleanses in my bathroom. And I had like 10 bottles of half-finished or almost finished shampoo. And I had a bunch of bottles of half-finished or almost finished moisturizer. And the reason that they were half-finished or almost finished instead of being completely finished is that I kept buying new stuff. So I would buy something, I would use it for a while, and then it would sort of just get lost in the mix. I would get bored of it, I would forget about it, I would have new things that were more exciting and that I wanted to try and use more. And so then the almost empty bottles of things and jars were piling up, and that had been happening for years. So when I stopped the flood of new things into my life and all I had left to use were all of those half-finished and almost finished bottles of product, they started dropping like flies, and my empties videos were just packed. As my no buy year progressed, one of my goals was to have less stuff lying around. I got to the point where I only really wanted to have 1 or 2 of each thing in almost every category. So I started really looking forward to the day when I had used up all of my extra stuff in every category. And for that reason, during my no buy year, when my empties videos started getting smaller and smaller, I celebrated. I was excited because to me it meant that I was getting closer and closer to my goal of having an edited collection. So one reason that an empties video can be small and that a container of empties can have few things in it at the end of a month. By the way, I got a new basket. When we moved, many things got shuffled around and I commandeered this wire basket, which we had formerly been using for mail. I commandeered it for my empties, and it's so much better than the old sack that I was using. But one of the reasons that someone's empties basket could have very few things in it at the end of the month is that she has edited her collection down. So she doesn't have extra half-empty stuff lying around, so she's not constantly finishing half-empty stuff and then putting it into her empties. But, and here's what I've been thinking about lately. Another reason that someone's empties basket could not have very much stuff in it is because she is receiving and trying a bunch of new stuff and therefore not using anything up, not emptying anything. And for me at this point, it's hard to tell which one of those things it is. I'm not taking on new products at the rate of speed that I was before my no buy year when I had a shopping problem, but I am bringing into my life, or I'm having put into my life, more stuff than I'm buying because I'm receiving free things here and there, and more stuff than I was during my no buy year by far, because during my no buy year I wasn't receiving any PR and I wasn't buying myself anything except for replacements. I don't really have any conclusions in this matter. As always, I'm enjoying dwelling in the gray area and living the questions, but I wanted to just point out that it's not cut and dry when it comes to empties. That I think we tend to think of empties as being something virtuous in the beauty world. We're like, congratulations, you have so many empties. And I understand where that impulse comes from, because when you've emptied something, when you've used it all the way up, it means that you've gotten your money's worth, and it means that purchasing the thing was a wise investment. It also kind of means that I didn't get too distracted by a bunch of new stuff. I stuck with the one that I had purchased. In this case, my body wash, I only had this for the 5 or 6 months that it took me to use it up. I didn't buy new body wash. I didn't accept new body wash. I just kept to my goal of sticking to the one thing, and that's good. So that is something to celebrate, and when something like this ends up in an empties, that is something to celebrate. But I've been thinking lately about the fact that as I try new stuff that comes to me through PR or even as a gift here and there, fewer things go into my empties. And the last little facet I want to add to this bit of musing before we get into the meat of the video is that if I had an ideal simplified life, and I put ideal in quotation marks because I'm not aspiring to sort of a perfectly stringent and clearly defined way of life when it comes to product. I'm kind of trying to have less than I had before, but I'm rolling with the punches a little bit in terms of receiving things to test and receiving gifts and buying things for myself. I'm just sort of feeling out where I'm gonna land. I'm not beating myself up about trying to make it a certain way. But if I were to get to a point where I only had one body wash and I was consistently repurchasing it, and I only had one shampoo and I was consistently repurchasing it, if I got to a point where I was receiving no gifts, no PR in theory, and only repurchasing one of each product all the time to replace those things, then wouldn't my empties be pretty big? I mean, wouldn't more things end up in my empties than they would if I had 4 body washes going at one time? I think they would, because if you only have one of something, you use it up faster than if you have 4 of something. So this is just to say that I've been thinking a lot about the fact that there are so many reasons why you could end up with a ton of empties one month, and there are so many reasons why you could end up with not a lot of empties one month. And in both situations, there are some reasons that are to me good, like they are the things that I'm trying to do caused that result. And in both situations, there are reasons that are to me a little bit disappointing. Like I let myself get carried away, or I'm failing to live the life I aspire to, and that is what has caused this result. I don't know if any of this makes sense or if it's interesting at all. I just wanted to put that out there as food for thought because it's something that I've been thinking about, and it's 100% relevant to this video, in which I have a lovely little basket of empties that's really just so light, so few. Let's go ahead and get into the meat of the video. So we usually go hair care, body care, skin care, makeup, but this month I only have body care, skin care, and then 1 makeup item and 1 homeware type item. So I'm gonna go ahead and talk about this first. I haven't put candles in my empties before, and I have used candles. I burned a couple candles up during my no-buy year, and then since then I think I've burned 1 or 2 other candles, and I just haven't been in the habit of putting them in my empties. But this one feels relevant because I bought it with my beauty budget. This is the Valespa Baltic Amber candle that I bought on sale at Anthropologie a couple of months ago. It wasn't this past month, it was the month before, and it was lovely. It lasted a long time, and now it's gone. And it's kind of a reminder of why it's hard for me to bring myself to spend my budget, especially on luxury candles or especially on high-end candles, because they're so disposable. You use them up. But I wasn't sorry that I had it. I wasn't sorry that I had purchased it. And I now am starting to just think about maybe where my candles are going to come from, because it's not going to be this anymore. This I only purchased because it was 40% off, because the Anthropologie I happened to be visiting that day was closing, so they were doing kind of a everything must go sale. But I'm not going to be replacing this candle with one of its kind, and I guess I'm sort of on the hunt for inexpensive or relatively inexpensive candles, reasonably priced candles that have the sultry, subtle unique scent profiles that I enjoy. Let's talk about body care. So I already held up during the introduction this bottle of Sleepy Shower Gel from Lush. And this is the second bottle of Lush shower gel that I purchased, the big size, because when I ran completely out of shower gel during my no-buy year and I wanted to buy one bottle of one as a replacement, I realized that the smartest thing for me to do is to buy a really big bottle because the value for money is so much better. And if I decide to go with that, going with a value size, then I feel much better about buying a relatively expensive one, because to me it's worth it for the quality. And I really did love the scent of this. I really do like the quality of these. I talked recently in my video about corporate ethics, about Lush, and specifically about this body wash because I had noticed that the first ingredient was sodium lauryl sulfate. That's what I said in that video. And I knew that SLS is something that gets a bad rap in some corners of the beauty world, and that Lush talks a big game about being a clean or being a mostly natural or in some ways a natural brand. And I've learned more about it since then, even though that was like the last video that I filmed. First of all, the first ingredient in this is sodium lauryl sulfate, which apparently is not the SLS that has been demonized by natural beauty brands, honestly, by the advertisements of natural beauty brands. Sodium lauryl sulfate is much gentler and much less problematic, and I think that there are a lot fewer people who have a bad reaction to it. So I'm not as scandalized as I was when I thought that this was that SLS. And then the other thing that I've been reading more about is just that the jury is still out on a lot of the chemicals and a lot of the ingredients that we see regularly demonized these days. So there are a lot of different opinions, for example, on whether parabens are a bad thing. And I'm not someone who tries not to put parabens on my skin. I would not omit a skincare product from my routine because it has parabens in it. But I did talk in that video about one criticism of Lush being that they say they're all natural and then they use these chemicals. And some of you who actually have worked at Lush responded that you were trained to say when you worked at Lush that you use only safe chemicals, that it's not actually an all-natural brand. And even though it has the feeling of that and you might think it is that, Lush never really claims to be that. And I'm actually kind of cool with that. I think someone was saying in the comments that you kind of appreciate Lush's resistance to fear-mongering when it comes to certain chemicals and certain ingredients and preservatives, because there haven't been conclusive studies linking a lot of the chemicals that a lot of people try to keep out of their beauty routines to things like cancer. Everybody gets to choose for herself and himself, okay? I'm not up here saying that you're dumb if you avoid parabens, not at all. I'm a person who almost never eats, for example, sugar. Like, I have an extremely weird way of consuming food compared to most Americans. Extremely weird. So I'm not a person who would ever criticize someone for deciding not to consume a certain thing, not to include a certain thing in his or her skincare routine. I'm all about everybody curating his or her beauty routine to suit themselves, to suit the individual, and to feel safe and to feel healthy and what makes you feel good. So I'm not at all trying to criticize people who are careful about certain ingredients. More power to you, and I really, really mean that. All I'm trying to say about it is that I also, in my assessment of kind of what's going on in the beauty sphere, make room for and accept a company like Lush sort of dwelling in that gray area, like I'm doing with that project, and basically saying, we make great products, we use great ingredients, and we're not afraid to continue using ingredients that have been demonized by some parts of the industry, but that we still believe are safe. So in continuing to use them, they're saying that they believe they're safe. They're not secretly continuing to use them even though they think they're not safe, if that makes sense. This is all just to say, I really enjoyed this product. I would buy it again. I haven't bought it again because I ended up with a body wash from Octoly. It's the one from Sol de Janeiro, the Brazilian Foreplay body wash, the one that looks like it's in like a rubber ducky container. This one, I don't know, I approve. I absolutely enjoyed having this. I didn't get tired of it, even though it lasted for months and months and months. And it was pretty expensive. I think this big bottle is something like $40, but spread out over the number of months that this lasted me, it's definitely good value for money, A+. I also used this little bottle of Rose 31 shower gel, which is by Le Labo. It was sent to me by one of you. I've reviewed little minis of Le Labo shower gel before on here because friends have given them to me who travel to hotels where they were using them as the amenities. I'll say now what I've said then, which is that I love having this because I love the scents. I love the rose scent from Le Labo. I love the Santal scent from Le Labo, but the body wash itself is nothing special. To me, it's just all about the perk of getting to lather myself up with this high-end scent. Here's another Lush product. This came in the box from Tara that she sent some months ago at this point. It's called Christingle, and it's the Lush body conditioner, which is a product that I really, really love in general. So it's a cream, but you are supposed to turn the water off in the shower, rub it all over your body, and then gently rinse it off and then gently pat dry. It is a way of moisturizing your skin in a lotiony way, but it's when you're in the shower so you're all warm and slippery and it doesn't feel gross and cold. It is an alternative to lotion that to me is much more pleasant to use because I don't particularly love putting lotion on when I'm fresh out of the shower. Christingle is one of the scents that the Lush body conditioner comes in. And it looks like, it's all washed clean so I can't show you, but it looks like toothpaste. It's blue and it smells, everything about it is like toothpaste. It looks and smells like blue mint toothpaste. Mint is not my favorite. And I actually don't use mint toothpaste because I am so little a fan of mint as a flavoring. I mean, I don't mind mint as a flavoring in foods, but I don't really like mint as a flavoring in beauty products and mouthwash and stuff like that. I would never have bought this for myself because it smells like toothpaste, it looks like toothpaste, it feels like spreading toothpaste all over your body, and it's tingly. It's like mentholy, and the whole reason I don't like putting lotion on my skin after I get out of the shower is because I don't like being cold. I don't like the feeling of a cold, globby thing on my skin when I'm nice and warm from the shower. So everything about this, I had extreme trepidation. I was like, Tara, I'll try it because I really like the Lush body conditioners, but I'm not looking forward to putting this toothpastey stuff all over my body. I'm not looking forward to smelling like mint, and I'm not looking forward to tingling. When I use these body conditioners, I go ham. So I got, I think, 2 or 3 uses out of this because I used a big handful every time. And I was pleasantly surprised by the tingling. The tingling, it was sort of a warm tingle. And at first I was like, I don't know. And then I was like, ooh, I felt warm and tingly when I got out of the shower, and it was nice. And so I ate my words and I was like, Tara, you were right. I apologize. It's nice. There's something about that tingliness that's nice. But I still didn't really like the experience of using it because it was so toothpastey. So I wouldn't go out and buy this again, but I did appreciate having it. In a similar vein, look what's finally made it into my empties. This is the bag that formerly contained a 1 pound block of cocoa butter. Oh no, it was 2 pounds. I guess I had ordered 2 pounds. Maybe that's why it took me so long to go through it. So I use cocoa butter as a much less expensive version of this. I don't use the blocks of cocoa butter every time I shower. I just do it when my skin is really, really dry and I feel like I'm in need of an intense full body moisturizing experience and I don't want to use lotion. So I take a block of it, like a little chunk, take it into the shower, and with the hot, hot water streaming over me, just rub it all over and it dissolves away. The block eventually just dissolves, melts all over the body and melts away. It's partly the heat of the body that melts it, and it's partly the heat of the water that melts it. It can also be done in the bathtub. And so I frequently will use a block when I'm in the bathtub, I'll use a block when I'm in the shower. And the only thing is you have to be really, really careful afterwards because it makes the inside of the tub really slippery. It's not just more pleasant to use than lotion, it's also so much more moisturizing for my skin than lotion. It really leaves a film. And I have a whole video about this. I'm gonna stop talking about it. I'm just gonna link the video. If you're curious about how I feel about all sorts of lotions and potions for moisturizing the body, including this type of product, actually, I think I talk about it in that video, just click on that video, and I'll also link this down below. It's extremely inexpensive. I think it's something like $15 or maybe even less for a pound block that will last years. I had a couple face masks in here in the Empties video, all three of which appear to be from this brand Lapkos. These were given to me at Indie Beauty Expo. I believe that I think I met the owner. The guy I was talking to, I think he was the owner of Lapkos. They're nice, they're not too expensive. I haven't looked into buying these as replacements for my sheet masks when I run out, because right now I'm pretty rich in sheet masks and it's not my major concern right now, buying sheet masks. But if someone were considering buying these and they were like, do you think they're good? Then I would say yes. The thing I really liked about these, now I'm remembering, is that they really smell like the ingredients that they say. So sometimes when you buy a 10-pack of these sheet masks, they will all say different things. They'll be like avocado on one, it'll be like apples, and it's like bananas and oatmeal, and they all say that they're for different skin concerns, and then they all say that they have different ingredients, but then they all smell exactly the same and they all appear to perform exactly the same. But these, the honey one, really, it was sticky with honey. Like there was definitely honey in it. And the aloe one there was definitely aloe gel in it, like you could feel it. And I think there was another one I remember being really impressed by it was the milk one. The milk one was like milky, like the substance in it was extremely milky. And I really did like that. I think that's why I kept using, when I used the honey one and I was so impressed by it, I think that's why I kept using these Lapkos masks this month. I finally finished up my bottle of The Ordinary's Niacinamide 10% Zinc 1%, and I do really like this product. It's basically a niacinamide zinc serum. It is supposed to help with the signs of blemishes and acne, like recovering blemishes, supposed to help with redness. And I do think that niacinamide is a great skincare ingredient for people who are struggling with acne. I just have niacinamide elsewhere in my routine. As of maybe the beginning of this year, even end of my no-buy year, I started to tire a little bit of the like 10 to 15 step beauty routine for skincare. I do like having products to layer. I do believe in layering as an effective way of caring for the skin, and I still do use the 7 skin method, and I like layering oils over serums, but I'm tired of sort of doubling and tripling up on kinds of ingredients in various steps. I really want to streamline as much as I can while still having a pretty robust routine. So I've been really looking at the ingredients and thinking about how many of these extra bottles I need to have around on my vanity. And one of my favorite products, one of my most reliable products, is the Lotion P50, and it has niacinamide in it. I don't use it every day. I'd say I use it every 3rd, or at this point maybe even every 4th day. I use it at night as my first step. So I use it as an acid toner at night, maybe 2 or 3 times a week. And it's pretty intense, and I feel like I'm getting a pretty hefty dose of niacinamide in that product. So I'm not going to repurchase this one from The Ordinary. But if you don't have any niacinamide in your skincare routine and it's an ingredient that you think might benefit you, this is a good budget option. And then hey, look who came over. Sadie came over. She never does that. Feeling snuggly? You on the snuggle bus? Sadie's been on the snuggle bus for like 5 days straight now. We're not really sure what's going on. Maybe it's June gloom come early. This is my last product to review in my empties, and it's the ColourPop Brow Boss in Ash Brown. I already repurchased this, as many of you know, and I really like it. It has one fatal flaw, which is that this inevitably comes off, and it's because it's not glued in there or anything. It's just popped in. And what happens is over time, because I use the spoolie, and it's kind of annoying because it's like, it seems obvious that this would happen, because if anyone's using the spoolie quite a lot, which I am, and I've been using the spoolie, rubbing it into soap for soap brows, so maybe that's why maybe I've been more aggressive with this than you're supposed to be, but still, it's cheap. It's cheaply made, and it is cheap. It's only $5, so that's maybe why. But basically what happens is this little tube eventually gets micro cracks around it, and it widens and loosens, and then this just pops out because it's not fixed in there with anything other than the pressure of it being exactly the right size. So that's frustrating. And the other one that I have, the one that's still going strong in terms of the product on the other end, it popped out as well already, and I've wrapped tape around it to keep it on there. I can't remember which video it was in, but I mentioned at one point that I was considering buying backups of this because I seem to be going through it every month or two, and I think every 2 months, and having to buy from ColourPop just to buy one of these every couple of months doesn't make sense because you have to pay shipping if you only buy one thing like this. And so what it does is it encourages me when I'm placing that order to put other things into my cart just so that it feels like the order is more merited. And if I don't do that, if I decide I'm going to pay shipping every time, then that doubles the price of this. And it means that it's not really such good value for money. So I was considering buying backups of these, and this is why I'm glad that I didn't, because after having used one and then used another one partway through the second one, after having thought that it was like my perfect holy grail and I'll never need anything else again, and yeah, I could buy 50 of them and then I could just use them happily for the rest of my life and I'll be great. I was in that phase when I was considering buying the backups, but now I'm like, it has disappointed me. It's annoying that it does this, and I'm not as enthusiastic about it as I was. I'm not sure I'm backups level enthusiastic about it. If I had already bought the backups, well, that would be too late for me to retract those feelings, because I would then have a whole drawer full of them and I would have to use them even though my love has taken a little bit of a hit because of this spoolie falling off problem that this product has. I may yet do it. I may yet buy 2 or 3 at a time the next time I need a brow pencil and just suck it up and wrap tape around the spoolie every time. But I also might keep an eye out for another option, and maybe I'll find a brow pencil that's in the perfect color, that's a really good consistency at a low price, that is a little bit better constructed. And that is it. That is my mysteriously small batch of empties for this month. I somehow feel like I have not managed to make a short video in spite of having only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 products to report upon, and that's if you count each face mask as its own separate thing. Hey Kissy, I'm just finished. I'm curious to find out if this continues to be the trend. I'm curious to see if my empties continue to stay small in the coming months, and I'm going to pay extra close attention and try to see if I can figure out whether my empties are small because I'm receiving free product and testing free product, or if maybe I feel like my empties are small because I have one of each thing and I don't have a bunch of half empty bottles lying around. I think that all I can do is sort of monitor it and pay attention to it. It's probably a combination of both, because as I said at the beginning, all the different factors kind of affect the empties in both directions, and it's a little bit hard to see. But I think I will. I think I'll take notice this month of how quickly I'm going through my kind of key categories of products, and then maybe I'll have a little bit more robust of a report for you on the philosophical question of empties next month. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that you're remembering to take extra good care of yourself right now so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.